What's up? Welcome to Flippin the Script podcast, where we're changing the narrative in our community, empowering our community, educating our community on investments. We have a special guest today, and Christina. Christina, thank you for joining the Flippin the Script podcast.
Definitely. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. So, just tell the audience a little bit about you and your background.
Well, my name is Christina Lee. I am a real estate agent, and I assist with project management at DAD Properties, and learn a lot here working with Mr. Rancifer.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. So today we're just going to talk about, recently, probably in about 3 months ago, Christina actually bought a portfolio of properties that an investor had reached out to her and asked, was I interested in acquiring those properties. It was 31 properties in Lake County, in Gary, Indiana, pretty much single family homes. And, we're going to just talk about that processes, the challenges we faced, how it all started, how it's, finished, how it went along the way. And, just kind of discuss that. So, Christina, if you will, kind of tell us how that initial process was brought to you.
Well, an investor that we've purchased a couple single properties from reached out and said, hey, we've worked together in the past. I have a portfolio of 31 properties. These are the numbers. Do you know any investor that's interested? And, of course, the first investor I could think of and only one that I knew that could purchase 31 properties was Mr. Rancifer. So I brought it to him and said, here's the numbers. Let's make it happen. Awesome.
So this property, the portfolio he was asking was right around $3.5 million for the total portfolio. And, again, as as an investor, you're looking to come up with 25% down. Most lenders require a 25% down. So obviously it just couldn't go to any typical investor, right? So just being able to have that liquid cash and, be able to have the opportunity like that once it presents itself, I always say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So as an investor, always ensure that you have that cash liquid because opportunities will come. So again, he brought those portfolio of properties again, and he was faced with the thing is, do he sell or do he refi? So he actually had appraisals for all 31 properties, which is, not typical, but he was in a process because he was using a burst strategy, which we, use a lot ourselves. So he was kind of using that. So he was going to refi them. So we were faced with the challenge. We had to get this done, pretty fast. And, again, I always say, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So we had a little over a $5 million credit line ready that, allowed us to kind of speed through the process. So, again, a lender is not going to take someone else's appraisals, even though actually some of the appraisers that he used, we actually got those same appraisals. So it was kind of easier work on them. But, a lender is just not going to say, okay, I'll go with whatever value you have. So as those appraisals, as we went in, we didn't know how, things were going to turn out, right? But, we were excited. That was the single largest portfolio asset that I've personally acquired ever, individually. So, but again, yes, I acquired it individually, but it definitely took a team effort to get it done because you're talking about, obviously you got to do your due diligence with those assets prior to even sending it to the lender. You got to, drive by, a lot of those properties, which...
Let the people know what on average our work hours were during that period.
Oh my! But you can't say during that period because they still going.
True.
So definitely. So we were those hours from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. nightly.
No exaggeration.
No, none. And that's Sunday through Monday. It was like as you can see, I'm a huge Bears fan. So it was actually during the beginning of the Bears season. I actually had tickets to the Bears game. Went to the Bears game, came right back, got to work, got to business. So again, every single day. I mean, some of the things that, again, we got to do our due diligence, right? We had to drive by all of these properties, just do what we do to make sure that before we send it over to the lender, it makes sense for us, because, we got to pay for just the appraisals alone were,
31 proproperties at, let's say, $600 a property.
Yeah. So that came,
$18,000
just in appraisals. So, you definitely don't want to just throw that type of money down the drain. So you want to do your due diligence, see if it makes sense. And again, those hours that we put in, a lot of people like to view, but they don't like to climb, right? So,
and I think it's important to kind of give we know what you were doing when you say due diligence, but a drive-by includes checking out the block, checking out the neighborhood. Can we put the type of tenant that we want to put in and paying the rent that we expect them to pay
absolutely.
in a property?
So again, a lot of these properties were around some of the properties that we already had. Literally, some of them were next door to properties that we already own.
Absolutely.
A lot of them were on the same block of properties that we already own. So, obviously that was a huge advantage, because we knew the area, we knew what to expect going into it in terms of the block, like you say. So a lot of the due diligence was already there just based on our previous experience, right? But that doesn't say that we still don't got to put the work in.
And there's I always say he plays real life Monopoly all the time. And so, Monopoly, of course, you got to collect them on the same state. In his experience, he collects them on the block. I keep saying, I don't know how many you should have on a block before we rename it after you. Should it
right.
be you get 20 properties on a street and rename it?
We definitely buying back the block, right?
We're buying back the block.
That's one of my favorite songs, definitely. So, so some of the challenges, again, what would you say the biggest challenges that we faced during that process? And let the audience know that the process is still going, right? Because and we can use what happened at closing, how everybody was looking at me like, you excited?
The job's not finished.
Again, I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. What should I be excited for? Job finished? Job not finished.
So this is, and I've worked with you for 4 years now. Again, congratulations on such an amazing feat. I am so proud of you and proud to work for you.
Thank you.
And so we went to closing to buy 31 properties in one day. And certainly everyone who was there was ready to celebrate, and you had not a smile on your face. But us, the closest people to you, had to say, okay, we get it. Job is not finished.
Right.
And we see all the work that's ready to do, but we are going to excel and say,
yeah,
this is amazing. And you did.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, again, just having a team around you, got to give, glory to God first, who obviously made it possible. So a lot of times, we don't take time to smell the roses, and that's kind of what they, brought to my attention. Like, yes, job is not finished, but at the same time, this is a huge accomplishment, right? So you got to make sure you take time to smell the roses and don't just overlook that moment. And, I definitely appreciate them for that. But again, just as we going through it, my thing is I never want to get comfortable, right? Because I know what comfortability gets you. You know what I'm saying? It can get you in positions to where you don't continue to excel. And I always look at it like I have to continue to excel. Yes, you take time, you take in everything that you have, appreciate everything you have. But, I still say don't get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because job finished? No.
And I 100% agree, which, funny enough, you're a numbers guy, and we often talk about the numbers behind the numbers, and that's part of what was a lot of work during this. But also, you have a saying, and as we know, 100% is everything, right?
Right.
But you always say 1,000%.
Yeah.
I often tell you, I agree with you, but the degree to which I agree with you, honestly, usually depends on my comfort level. Do I agree with you? I'll say 100% if I agree. But if I agree and I'm comfortable with it, I'll say, okay, yes, 1,000%. The funniest thing is when you're saying right now, yeah, when you're talking about being uncomfortable, do I like being uncomfortable? No. Not at all. But do I understand? Yes, 1,000%.
Exactly. But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Success, in order to get to achieve the certain levels of success, you got to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's it.
And, that's definitely my motto. I've become comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because, there's no huge, accomplishments achieved without some form of uncomfortability. And I've recognized that in my life because, if you look at the butterfly and the struggles that he got to go through to come out of the cocoon, I hear a story that goes back, the daddy and the son was together. The daddy was like, the son was like, Daddy, look at that, cocoon struggling. Can I just open it up and let him? He's like, no, Daddy, that's no, son, that's part of the process. If you do that, his wings won't be strong enough in order to be able to fly, to be the beautiful butterfly that he is. So again, you got to trust that process. But again, it's going to be some struggles that come along with it. But as long as you continue to fight through it, you will become that beautiful butterfly that you're designed to be.
So true. You sent the team something this morning. You're often sending.
I'm always sending the team.
Yeah, you sent the leadership team something this morning, and it was about doing the small things right every time. God. By what's the coach's name?
So a couple, Coach Saban.
Saban, yeah, he's my favorite that you said.
Yeah, he's I'm a huge follower of Coach Saban. One of the goats, if not the goat of college football. It's just the simple things, right? We overlook those simple things because we think they don't matter, but it's the consistent of those simple things day in and day out that add up to the big wins. And, I remember watching a documentary and, the Boston Celtics, and they were doing things, Kevin Garnett, they were doing 3-man weave,
I don't know what a 3-man weave is.
But if you're familiar with basketball,
okay.
We do that in 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? They don't have no elaborate scheme on how they run their offense. It's just the simple things, but you have to execute those simple things at a high level and be perfect at the simple things. And once you do those, you get the big wins.
I was thinking of some of our challenges with managing these, and we'll jump into it, but with managing these projects prior to our refi for the 31. When I've managed less projects or with a longer time period, it was okay to be a little messy. It was okay to not necessarily have everything on the punch list and make changes and go back and, multitask and all those things without giving my full attention because the stakes weren't as high.
Right.
But as we're scaling, as we're growing, and as we're, reaching our next level,
right,
it was so much more important to be organized, to do the things you want me to do all the time.
And again, I say if you're doing those little things day in and day out, paying attention to detail, you can scale up.
Right.
But it's when you think you don't have to pay that much attention to detail, or you're not paying attention to detail, when you're put in a situation where you have to manage multiple, because again, out of the 31 homes that we acquired, right now we're renovating. Some of them was, basically ready to go. Some of them need, facelift. Some of them needed total renovation. We did roughly 8 total renovations in a matter of 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks.
And the time mattered. That's the difference. And funny enough, I love a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
This process has made me develop some spreadsheets that will be helpful in the future.
Right.
So that we'll be in a better place now. But it was, okay, like you said, it doesn't matter to you, but I see how much it matters.
Right. Exactly. So again, just as we were going through that process of, as we're still going through, again, the renovation of these homes, again, doing 12 on top of all the other projects we got going on, right? So yes, we acquired 31 at one time, but in addition to that, we acquired 3, 4, 5 addition to that we were working on already. So
and managing the maintenance of the 300 you own.
Over 300 we own, right? So again, I think that's why I say success comes in your routine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strategic. I preach to the team day in and day out. Mm-hmm. Your success and your failures will be in your routine or the lack of your routine. Again, whatever you do, you got to have a routine and a scheme of, okay, this is what I'm doing in the AM. This is what I'm doing. Every single successful coach, no matter what it is, or successful CEO, is in their routine. I guarantee you, if you talk to them, they have a routine. They don't just say, okay. Again, success is planned and organized, right? It's not just something that you fall into.
You're never accidentally successful.
Absolutely not. And your success, I tell people and I preach it to my team, is going to be in your routine. So if you show me your daily routine, I'll show you how successful you are or how unsuccessful you are by your daily routine.
Yeah, and full transparency, I'm still working on it.
We all are, again, job finished, job not finished. So, exactly. But I mean, again, I just try to, and I don't try to get off a track of my routine. My routine would get up, definitely gotta, pray, you gotta, absolutely. I'm going to, I have to work out, like do some form of exercise. Otherwise, my day, it's like the Incredible Hulk. You don't want to see me when I'm angry, right?
Oh, I've never seen that.
You never? Oh,
not on camera. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, so, but again, it's my routine, and I don't like to break my routine. Again, things happen just like in life. Things happen. You got to make, adjustments, halftime adjustments. And again, I'm always going to use sports analogy, so get ready for that on Flippin the Script. But
you mentioned your routine. Your routine involves a very strenuous workout every day, more strenuous than most. And it's, I heard you and friends talking the other day. You're doing things that you weren't doing at 16, 18, 25 now.
Exactly.
But I think that is, first of all, it's so amazing. You're always focused on being fit, not only mentally and financially, but physically.
Right.
Very important. Right. But also, you should definitely have a routine. My routine, I definitely don't do your workout every day, though I do need to be more physically fit. But my routine involves starting my day with prayer, of course, music in the morning with the kids, and cooking every morning. It puts me in a very peaceful. Yes.
And that's the same thing. I mean, again, but that's your routine.
Yeah.
So I think it's very critical that everybody find that routine. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if you break that routine and don't get a chance to cook, don't get a chance to pray, your day, I know if it's anything like me, my day is shot. I'm an early riser, so it's very, I wake up with,
my mom used to say, you wake up and tell the sun to start shining. I just feel like, okay, I'm up, it's time to, So I normally get up early, but those rare days where I oversleep, nothing feels right.
What's that?
Exactly. You know what I mean? When I wake up and I'm if I have an 8:00 appointment and somehow I woke up at 7, it's like everything's off. Forget
Absolutely.
the day.
That's it. And it's kind of like once that happens, you put that positive in the universe, and the universe responds. I definitely believe in that as well. So again, you have to, I would definitely say find a routine and stick to that routine. I mean, and it has to be a positive routine, right? Not just any routine, just for the sake of saying I have a routine.
No, this is what makes me start smiling in the morning. This is what makes me feel at peace. And
So again, after I work out, my routine is generally I come into the office, I do some administrative work, whether it's, checking on the properties, checking on one of the other, businesses that I have and seeing what we need and organizing that and planning for that. And then every day is, going seeing a set of properties and set of projects and, and then come back to the office and kind of regroup and re-strategize for the next day. But that's a routine.
And managing your team.
And managing your team and coaching your team. Some might say it's, hard coaching, but again,
all would say that it's hard coaching. We're not going to put icing on this one, but it's hard coaching that we're still sitting here for, because it has made us better. It has made us to grow, and it's rewarding in the end.
Right.
It's like the teams that practice and none of it feels good, and then you win that game, and it's like yes.
That's what it's up. I mean, that's what all the successful teams and organizations, I don't think nobody or no team or no organization can say, for the most part, again, I'm, respectful and all of that, but I coach hard, right? That's what I do. Like Jordan saying in The Last Dance, I'm not going to ask of any of these players that I wouldn't ask for myself. And I preach that, right? Mm-hmm. I preach. If I'm asking you to do something, you can count on the fact that I'm doing it myself.
Or willing to do it.
Willing to do it. Absolutely.
You were on a chair. The other day we were in the middle of a meeting with the team on Zoom, and there was an issue with the ceiling,
right.
Next thing I know, instead of you calling someone to fix it, you're on a chair, you've removed the tile, you're plugging it in yourself. And
there's absolutely nothing that I won't do.
Right.
Because again, I believe it's key as a leader to show the team that you're willing to do anything that you're asking of them, right?
Absolutely.
Because again, that's where you get people to really follow you. If you exemplify the true characteristics of a leader and show that, hey, I'm in the battlefield with you. And that's one thing I show my team, that I'm in the battlefield with you. I'm not just telling you to go to battle,
right.
And from a dictator standpoint, but I'm actually in that battlefield with you and, along with you side by side.
And you also understand the entire process, which is so important. I always say, anyone who knows me or seen me in person knows I'm girly. I love a good high heel. I'm, all the things, but also, I will jokingly say the glamorous parts of my job are not so glamorous. A week ago, I was cleaning toilets prior to staging a house. So yes, it's fun to go shopping and to stage and, get a house ready for photos. But I didn't call someone to clean the toilets. The toilet was dirty. I cleaned it.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We do whatever it is that's needed by any means necessary. We get the job done.
And also, I touched on it. You understand every facet of the experience, so right. You know exactly what it is that you're asking us to do.
Absolutely. I think that's critical and key. My first rehab, my first flip, mm-hmm. I actually did the carpentry work myself.
Yeah.
Just because, and I had someone with, a more experienced carpenter to actually lead the way with me, and, I essentially mm-hmm. assisted him, but I think it was key and essential to know the entire process.
Absolutely.
Because, again, you know what to expect. You know if this guy is doing this, is he doing it the right way, right? Mm-hmm. As investors, we're not only investors, but we are general contractors. We own our GC license, our electrical, our HVAC license. But I think it's key because, again, it's knowledge in all of that, right? Because Absolutely. Again, whether or not they're doing whatever they supposed to be doing the right way,
right?
Versus just saying, hey, could you, do this? Whether it's you opening up the wall, right? You got to understand, is it supporting wall? Do they have a header where it needs to be?
And how have we learned that? But through my mistakes.
There's many of them, but that's another podcast.
We'll save that for next time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But again, just knowing, so I thought it was key, like, I'm going to jump in at the first rehab so I know the process, what it takes, and how long it takes.
And how much it should cost.
Absolutely.
One of the things you quickly taught me is when we were, they're saying, and you're always a teacher. You're a teacher by nature, right?
That's definitely my calling.
Very rarely do you give me the answer.
No.
You will usually ask me a question, and when I first started, and I would say, okay, well, the contractor said it's going to be this much. You would say, how long is it going to take them? Because time is money, and we respect them and we respect their expertise. But also, let's see if it makes sense.
Right. Exactly.
Does it make sense? Does
it make sense? So obviously, we have a team, an in-house team, right, of contractors, where we can essentially do any job in-house.
Right.
But obviously, when we're doing the number of jobs that we have, we can't do every job in-house. We have our own electrician, the plumber, everything in-house. So we kind of take, we kind of got to manage each project. Okay, do it make sense to outsource this, or do it make sense to, do it in-house? That's one of the reasons why I asked, hey, well, how long is it going to take? Well, a prime example, we had a plumbing issue where the old galvanized piping at one of the properties 2 days ago. We had an outsourced, plumber to come out, quote us. He literally told me, I'm like, well, how much would it cost to get it? He was like, well, it's gonna be $1,500. We got to break the ground up. We got to change the galvanized to PVC for the sink and for the laundry drain. And I'm like, okay, let me see how long it'll take in-house. So it took us, we got it done in-house. This literally was, yesterday. So in-house labor, it cost us $300.
I literally was just going to say to you, in quick estimation, that sounds like a 3-hour job. Even if he's $100 an hour, that's $300.
Right. Exactly. So our in-house maintenance, was able to get it done. It took him, most of the day, because he had to break up the concrete, reattach the concrete, run new, cut out the galvanized, run, PVC. But he was able to get that done in the time, and it only cost us $300. So again, just being that knowledge, right? Knowledge, and say, okay, evaluating whether or not in-house outsource, and which one makes sense. Obviously, you got to take in, travel time and all of that. But for the most part, if we can get it done in-house and save that, absolutely.
And that is solely, in my opinion, what has made you so successful, is that you have dug in and found the answers yourself. When I first met you, I guess probably over 4 years ago, what did I say to you? Do you remember?
You don't like working with investors.
I don't work with investors. I had zero interest in working with you.
Right.
But the reason was, as a realtor, I had seen the other side of things. I had walked through many half-done projects and met many investors that weren't nearly as successful, that wanted, the glamorous part. I want to do a flip. I want to make the money. They, well, how much can you sell this house for? And I would say, oh, this one will sell for, I pulled the value, $200,000. But then they didn't want to put the money in to get the $200,000, or they wanted to only use their own cash and not use a lender, which is only going to get you as far as your cash for carrying.
Again, right. You know what I'm saying? So it's always, I evaluate I'm a numbers guy, true and true, right?
Yeah.
So, I look at it like, okay, essentially for every $100,000 that I borrow from a lender from the bank, it's going to cost me $5,000.
Right.
So if I'm doing a deal and it's a $200,000 deal and it's going to cost me $10,000 to do that deal, is that actually that bad? Because if I can get that property flipped, turned around in 3 months, versus using my cash, $200,000, now I can do, if you multiply that, instead of doing one deal using $200,000 of my own cash, right, I can do 5 deals using that same $200,000, 10 deals.
100%. And then also the other end of it, so that you're able to effectively do these flips. So again, I went from saying I would never work with an investor to now I am an investor with you.
Exactly.
And I love the whole process, and none of it feels like work.
Right.
But
exactly. I mean, I think that's key, right? I mean, some days you make it. You got me feeling like I'm working. Well, I ain't say you, I said me.
You should change it.
But no, that's all part of it, right? Again, it's not going to be what I like to refer to as the honeymoon stage. It's all the time. You know, a lot of times people get confused. Like, you know, it's unrealistic to think that every day you come into, you know, your workplace environment and it's just go be, you know, like my brother say, peaches and cream every day. There's going to be some days where, hey, man, you know, it feels like work is going to be that, but you know, all around, I absolutely love what I do. I think I'm extremely blessed. I wouldn't change it for the world, and just being able, the opportunity to, you know, uplift my community and, you know, change these. You know, again, we in most cases taking the worst house on many blocks.
Oh, of course.
And making them into some of the best blocks, right. Houses on the block, right? And
right.
Again, I just love seeing that transition in our community. And like I say, we're building back the community one house at a time.
We love ugly houses, and that didn't come from me.
We love them and we buy them.
We buy them. We buy. If you have an ugly house, give us a call. We want it.
Absolutely.
But, you know, and you have, that didn't come directly from you, but you have plenty of words of wisdom that you're always giving us, right? One that you've given me, and again, this is one of those, uncomfortable, but it's true. You said, don't give me an excuse. Tell me how. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, don't give me an excuse. Give me a solution. Don't tell me what's wrong. Tell me how we can fix it.
How you could have gotten it done.
How you could have gotten it done.
And I always say, okay, I need to change my habit, because we can call it an excuse. We can call it a reason. But one thing you've said is, if you give an excuse, you're never going to change being able to do it.
Absolutely. I strongly believe, you're never going to make any adjustments, because
right.
you're justifying the reason on why you're doing it.
Right.
So if you just say, well, why you didn't get this done? Well, because it was, too late or then you didn't say, well, I didn't stay up long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You justify your actions. I don't believe in excuses.
And the key for me is the other part. You have to frame your mind and train your mind, and then frame your thought process to say, how could I have gotten it done?
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely. Like I tell my kids when they come and talk to me, what is this? I'm like, well, how could you, how could you have got it done? And that's, I love this quote that I seen the other day. You can make 1 million excuses, or you can make $1 million.
But seriously, that's it. It's not catchy. It's not just something that sounds good. It's true.
Yes, you can make 1 million excuses, or you can make $1 million. So,
I'll go for the dollars if I have a choice, and I do.
And my mindset is, I can make 1 billion excuses, or I can make $1 billion, because that's the
I love
goal.
That. Yeah. And here's the thing, and this is you at your core. I don't know if you want the people to know this, but you're already a millionaire. But one thing I know about you is that you constantly move the goalpost, because the job's not finished, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're already a millionaire, I know your next goal is to be
the
billionaire.
Absolutely. You gotta set your. Here's the thing. I believe if your goal is not, in most cases, laughable at the beginning, it's not high enough.
Oh, 100%.
If somebody say, "Oh yeah, you can do that,"
It's not really a goal. That's
exactly. I want people to say, when they leave the conversation from having with me, when I'm telling my goal, I want them to say, that man crazy. Ain't no way he go be a billionaire. Ain't no way he go have, skyscrapers downtown. Ain't no way he go have, his own community. Ain't no way why is he even thinking that big?
And to that end, that's why, to me, I think one thing I think the difference between a dream and a goal, first of all, is the plan that you're going to execute.
Right.
So that first, but also some goals need to be goals that you don't share with people. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Some goals need to be.
Because they dream killers.
Yeah. Some goals need to be, this is between me and God and those very, very closest people to me.
Absolutely.
Kerry Washington said, one of my favorite quotes, I know you got a lot of sports quotes, right? Kerry Washington said, if you have to catch the bus, you remember that one? You got to pray to catch the bus, and then run like hell to the bus stop.
You can't just pray and hope you catch the bus.
Right.
You have to put the action in, and that's
faith without action.
Yeah, faith without works is nothing. It's
exactly.
Dead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, every time if you look at any miracle that God performed in the Bible, he always asks you to take some form of action, right? Yeah. So it's never just, it's just going to happen. You know, he's like, you know, you want fish? Cast out the net, right? Yeah,
God's a multiplier, but you have to do your part.
Exactly. You want to be healed? Touch my garment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take action. It's not just going to, you know, people think that, you know, things are going to just happen. No, you have to put in the work. Right. And I think that's one thing that, you know, you have to surround yourself with a team. Obviously, you know, being a partner with you in a lot of projects, you know, I want somebody that's going to put in that work and not afraid to put in those long hours. Again, people look at the, you know, the view from the mountain, but they don't look at the climb it took to get up there. And I think that's the key. You know, I mean, one of my favorite movies is Vertical Limit, and you know how they climb mountains just to get to that, you know, euphoria of being at the top, at the peak of that mountain, you know. But again, you like that view. It's an amazing view once you get up there, but the struggle and the process and the challenges it take to get to that view, a lot of people is not willing to put in. Again, you know,
you've given me some great lessons from movies, but I've literally never heard this one. So when you're saying it's your favorite, I'm like,
that's one of my. I watch it.
Vertical Limit.
Vertical Limit.
Check it out.
You gotta check it out. But again, you know, I just go back to, you know, the work that you put in. You know, a lot of times I don't look at, you know, I work out every day, just going back, touching back on that. I don't work out for the physical, just for the physical rewards that I get from it and the results that I get, but the mental aspect. And again, I have a personal trainer that I work out with 4 days a week. That, you know, I just, you know, got a new personal trainer, and he's, you know, he'll have me thinking I haven't done nothing for the last. He told me, you've been working out for the last 12 years. I can't tell.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds like a perfect trainer for you, though, because he's going to challenge you.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, man, he's having sync, because I'm like, am I this hard on my people? Because that's all I keep hearing, like, this is how you are with your people. And again, but I, you know.
You want me to answer how hard you are on your people?
I'm not hard, am I?
I don't tell lies.
Okay. So, I mean, again, I coach hard. You know, shout out to Nick Saban, who I follow a lot on IG. And again, when you look at the successful people, a lot of them, you know, you got to go hard, because again, when you get comfortable, you know, that's when little things happen, mistakes happen, when you overlook the small attention to detail items, you know, you kind of face with those challenges. So,
and you know, all joking aside, I certainly could have an easier job. You know, I could do something else very easily.
What would the fun in that be?
No, that's what my point is. I would never choose that. Exactly. I'm here because I choose to be. Right. All joking aside, do you coach hard? Yes. Is it comfortable? Never. Is it rewarding? Do I appreciate it? Yeah. Absolutely.
I told my trainer yesterday, I'm like, man, I've been, you know, training with you like a month. I have never heard you give me a compliment. I'm like, I got.
Who do you sound like?
I know, that's what I said.
Did I do anything right today?
Right. I'm like, I've never heard you give me a compliment. Like, man, good set, good. I mean, it's just like, man, come on, man, you slacking. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, I have him as a trainer because, again, I know he's going to push me. He's going to take me. I think it's about, you know, I'm always, you know, seeking to get to that next level, you know, physically, and the challenges again. You know, I'm going harder. One more rep. He's like, don't stop. You know, keep going. That's more mental than it is physical, because obviously I did this, you know, 7 reps and 8 reps, so I can physically do it, right? But it's just, once you get physically tired, can your mind say, keep going?
No, each one is heavier.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's like, man, keep going. And that's where the mental part come in. Like, okay, one more rep. I can do it. But, I push it. I give everything I have. And I know he don't believe it because he keep telling me.
No, it's his job to push you. It's his job to constantly push, and your job to push as hard as you can go. But if he stops, then you're not going to
repeat that tomorrow when we back at the office?
I can't remember exactly what I said, but let me see what I can do.
Yeah, you got. When I push you hard, you got to say it's your job to push, and it's my job to do exactly what you. But no, that's it, right? Because again, people can achieve way more than they believe they can. And I think that's the key, because a lot of times we think physically, mentally, we've done all we can. But once you think you've done all you can, trust me, it's more to give.
And you know what's funny? I always say, what you just now did is, you asked me to repeat, and certainly anything that I repeat, anything I say out loud, I have to hear myself, right? But I have 2 children. And I parent them very hard. I challenge them to be their very best every day. Right. And so just as hard as you coach me, I coach them. And I see the fruit there, right?
Absolutely. And you're definitely going to see the fruits of your labor.
But also, a lot of times I see in them me with you, right?
And that's how it is. So and that's how it is with my trainer, right?
Yeah.
Because again, for the most part, I'm the CEO of every business that, I'm operating in, and people, rely on my leadership and my experience. But when it comes to the gym, I'm not the CEO. You know what I'm saying? I'm, following him as the leader in the gym. And again, that not only, gets you there physically, mentally, but it keeps you humble, right? Because again, you don't want to be necessarily in control of every aspect of your life, and having that trainer there that's going to push you, and having people of expertise, again, that's why I got, a lot of times people ask me a question, whether it's a legal question or accounting question, and my first response, if it's illegal, I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV,
which is the smartest thing you could do. Yeah.
So again, I'm always having conversations with my attorney, a couple times a week on different experiences and different things we're going through, just to ensure that, again, as a brand, we're protecting our brand name. Again, we're just not no single asset real estate owner. We are a brand, and having that brand, you're going to have people, at some points taking shots and, lawsuits at that brand, because a lot of times they see dollar signs when they see, that's a brand. Dan
Properties doesn't own 5 properties. They own 300. He must have money. He must,
Exactly. So you're going to have, so you got to make sure again, you keep those professionals at your disposal, that you're constantly in communication with, not just when it is a problem, but preventative maintenance, right? Like, go in, hey, this is this, how do I protect myself in the future? So I think it's essential to have those accountants, those lawyers right there that you're having regular conversations with. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So again, just touching back, obviously we talked about a lot on the podcast today. I think, there's a lot of information that we was able to give, but as we go back and touch on the 31 acquisitions, and we're, again, using a burst strategy, you purchase, you renovate those properties, you rent them out. Now we're in the process of refinancing, which is a whole new, late hour ball game, right? Because again, you got to go in and make sure you got to communicate with the tenants and ensure they ready for it. What are some of the challenges that we face with, getting that process started?
With the refinance?
Yes.
Oh, that part I think is, aside.
Routine.
Yeah, it's routine. It's not on autopilot. We still have to do the work, but we've done so many refinances and have that system in place so well that I think as long as I stay on top of it and manage it, that goes very.
As long as we have that routine, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's it. As long as we have the routine, that goes very smoothly. I think for me, it's, everything that we bought was what someone would call rent ready.
Right.
Not, as you say, we have
Blue magic.
We have an internal
blue
term.
Magic.
None of them were, and that's what as I went to each property, I said to you, they're all fine. You could move in today. They're not blue magic.
Right. So you have, again, I love American Gangster, another one of my, I know he got a lot of favorite movies, but American Gangster is definitely one of my favorite movies. And Denzel was like,
keep it media appropriate. But
yeah, exactly. But he was like, they expecting something when they get blue magic, right? It's a brand name, just like Coke is a brand name, like, Pepsi is a brand name, blue magic, DAD Properties is a brand name. So when a tenant or someone reaches out to us looking to rent a property, they're not looking for the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a brand name. So, thankfully we built that brand and we have that representation of having, homes that people feel comfortable with. Like, this is somewhere I can grow in and possibly purchase, months down the line. We want every home to be blue magic.
And one thing you taught me very early on, because I said I don't really work with investors, but I saw investors making things, as I said, rent ready, so we can cash flow, so we can get a tenant in, and not necessarily stopping at the blue magic, or stopping well before the blue magic level. But one thing you said is, if I make these nice,
right, they're not gonna want to move out.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to take care of the property. They're going to pay the rent so that they can stay here forever. And I've seen that time and time again.
Exactly.
That it's the difference.
Absolutely. So, as we're going through we're consistently still putting in those long hour days. It's not just, all right, we go home at 9, 10 o'clock at night and the work is finished for the day. It's like, okay, we have nothing else to give. Our brains. About
9 o'clock, my brain slows.
But we ready, we tackling the next day and coming with that same routine to ensure that same high level of success and achievement. So I think, again, that's critical to that, and just being ready, right? I think, again, if we don't be in a position financially to take on those 31, and make no mistake about it, right, that that investor knew exactly who could acquire those properties. He knew, again, $3.8 million acquisition price. You looking at somewhere around $900,000 in down payment. That just wasn't anybody that can come up with $900,000 down payment to acquire those properties. So, well,
not only you say don't make no mistake, but as we had meetings and conversations with him, he said, "I did my research."
Exactly. Exactly.
As my sister will say, my sister's an entrepreneur and investor as well, and she's one of the most humble, sweetest people you'll ever meet. But internally, she'll say, "Google me."
No, I'm at that point too. Absolutely, I love it. I love that. Exactly. Like if you question, what I've done or whatever, Google me. Right?
Yeah, my sister is a world-renowned skincare expert. You Google her, she comes up. Same with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So again, a lot of times people say, I get it often. Like people reference, man, you lucky. I'm like, man, if you had any idea, you couldn't even imagine how much work we put in, right? Yeah. And again, luck has nothing to do with it. I believe the harder you work, the luckier you get, because that hard work, people come to you now. I don't have to go searching for so many properties. People literally come after us, look for us, seek us, and say, "Hey, you interested in this? I see you own a lot of properties." And again, DAD, that brand is very recognizable in our area. So, a lot I had on my shirt, because again, every day I'm I'm repping the brand, right? So I had, except today I'm repping the Chicago Bears, and the producer was supposed to give me, I'm assuming the Bears game is 0-0, because we had an agreement that if the Bears score, it was a thumbs up, and if the Bears gave up a score, it was thumbs down. So it's about 30 minutes into the game.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So,
that's still the beginning. Okay.
So somebody gave up a field goal because he just put up 3-0. So we ain't have nothing in plan for a field goal. It should have been a fist or something, but we'll work on that next time. But again, I think having a podcast was important. Yes, it's doing the Bears game, and I'm a huge Bears fan. But again, like I say, when we was working, they making their money. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
We gotta put in the work so people can watch us and make put in that good content, so people give them reason to follow us, follow Mr. Script and Mr. Flip the Hood.
Flipping the Script with Mr. Flip the Hood.
Absolutely, thank you. So again, I'm excited, about everything, about the future, just continuing to educate the community. That's what we all about. And if you're looking to be a guest on here, if you got some questions, definitely reach out to us. You're going to have the link below, but everything that we all about community empowerment through
Absolutely.
different aspects, as far as real estate, financial literacy, investing, anything you can think of, that's what we're about. So thank you, Christina, for coming on and being our special guest today. I think we were able to talk about a lot of things that comes and that we go through, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.